Solo Leveling has been a highly anticipated anime, and so far it has been awesome. I thoroughly enjoyed it, but that doesn't necessarily mean you will. In this spoiler-free video, I'm going to explain the vibe and what it does well to see if it's worth watching for you. Since there are already high expectations for this anime, as it's based on an extremely popular webcomic, I have to mention that it seems to be accurately adapting its source material. I know this partially because I looked into it, but also because of how it's paced. The beginning is pretty slow, but once it ramps up, it goes full throttle into its main story and action. The first 2 episodes really should have been released as a single 45-minute episode, and the story doesn't really get started until episode 3, so watch at least that far if you're interested. Overall, this is an action battle show. It's about being a strong fighter and watching flashy battles. It has a fairly simple but interesting plot and world that builds up so the hero, Sung Jin-woo, can have epic moments and fight stronger foes. In that way, there's nothing special about Solo Leveling. It's not trying to do much, but this is actually what makes this so good. The world has the problem of portals that open randomly and contain various magical monsters. Unfortunately, the only way to defeat these enemies is with a hunter who has awakened magical power, and however powerful you are when you are awakened is what you are stuck with for the rest of your life, in most cases. This concept is really easy to understand, with a video game-like system that becomes even more game-like after the first 2 episodes. Despite this, the entire setting feels realistic and grounded. Hunters are usually able to defeat the monsters before they escape, and because portals are common occurrences, the general populace reacts to them like minor inconveniences. Real people have other things to do than constantly worry about every possible tragedy. In this world, it's just like bad weather or any other natural problem that we're used to. This is just a small detail as an example, but things like this are very important to keep the story from becoming overdramatic or just plain stupid. One of the biggest problems with the over-the-top, super-powered action stories is that it often feels weightless because of the absurdity of the fights. With the main character being the weakest hunter of all mankind, it's really easy to root for him. This story also doesn't shy away from violence and death, and despite the magical nature of the enemies, the fighting is brutal and physical. But not just because of the amount of blood shown. It's actually brutal because it shows the fragility of life, especially when facing strong foes. This has a more unnerving kind of violence than you'd normally see from a battle shonen-esque story. The violence, setting, and fights all ground the story in the first part, so the later epic moments mean something. The one thing I worry about is the level of strength increasing too fast. If the story goes straight to fighting top-ranked monsters in only a few episodes, the grounded feel to this introduction is going to be pointless. I don't think that will happen, as special care seems to be taken in making the power scaling feel reasonable, but even if it does, the next best thing about the show will be on full display. The production, specifically the animation, is great. Similar to its story, it's not mind-blowing or pushing boundaries like Chainsaw Man or Demon Slayer, but it has a weight to its fast action that makes it very enjoyable to watch. With a very simple power system, at least for now, it doesn't need too much explanation for Sung's strategies, which allows quick and meaningful choreography. The animation exemplifies everything good about this story, and beyond that, just looks and feels good. Grounding the story with simple but interesting concepts, and not trying to be more than it is, Solo Leveling is going to be an extremely fun series. I don't see it being a meaningful or deep story. The characters aren't anything amazing, the setting isn't that complex, but it's so fun and doesn't need to be any more than that. If you like power scaling type action anime, especially when it actually reasonably explains the progression of strength, I highly recommend Solo Leveling. It's hype, and most importantly, incredibly fun. Thanks for watching. Check out another anime review here on the end screen, and let me know in the comments what anime you want a worth watching video made on next. That's all for me. Jamyao.